Jamaica Live. Thank you very much for staying tuned. I'm Clinton Reynolds, and of course this evening it is your time to speak on whatever issue that affects you in the society and some of the major developments that have taken place in the country. It is your time to discuss any issue. I raised a number of them. One, the issue with our children, the state of our social services, and just to mention Mrs. Elizabeth Lewis. She is off island now, but she has indicated that she would love to come and discuss those issues with us once again. She is the Director of Human Services and Family Affairs, so she will be here with us very shortly to discuss, not tonight, but in a subsequent program, to discuss some of the very serious problems that our country continues to face, especially as it relates to the youth, the children, the care that is given for them, the situation with the courts, and how children can generally escape through the cracks, especially those who are very vulnerable, those who do not have the adequate care being taken of them by the parent or parent figures, the guardians that are put in place to supervise them. Yes, the Civil Status Registry. I am sure that if you have not experienced problems getting a document at the Civil Status Registry, you know of someone who has, and that problem continues to plague us here. Why it's taken so long to be rectified, I have no idea, but it's encouraging that there was a statement from the cabinet this week indicating that the Ministry of the Public Service has been commissioned to look into the problems taking place at the Civil Status Registry and come up with solutions to those problems, starting, as they said, with the adjudicator's office, and seeing how the process of getting birth records can be expedited. Now, hopefully that is good news for all of us who visit the Civil Status Registry and who have had occasion to go there to get documents, and who have had numerous problems sorting through the paperwork, sorting through the old ledgers, and trying to figure out what's the real name, or what name should have been there, the name of the grandmother and the great-grandmother, and why the alias changed and why the surnames changed. So that's something that is encouraging, and let's hope that it can be done as quickly as possible. I also spoke about Carnival, and I just want to update you on what has happened as far as Calypso. Calypso is a major part of the Carnival activities. There are a number of individuals who have gone through to the semi-finals. A list of 18 individuals who will challenge the reigning monarch, that is Nintas, for the title. So from the ambassadors tent, you have Bingo, Educator, Moggy, Pep, yes, the parliamentary representative for ancillary canneries. He is singing this year again, and Realist. These are 5 individuals from the ambassadors who will be competing to make it into the finals to face off against Nintas. From the Socalypso Review, Blaze and Taker. From the Takeover tent, Achiever, Paulinus, Cupid. Cupid has made a transition from the soca stage to Calypso, so she's singing this year, and she has advanced to the semi-finals. She will be competing for a spot in the finals. We have Ready and Saya. From Soca Village, we have Invader, Julie B, Lady K, and Wally. So some of the old faces, seasoned Calypsonians, they will be competing. And from the South tent, Mary G, and of course Minel. So Mary G has made a comeback, and she will be performing in the semi-finals for a spot in the finals. Now, out of that, we have a number of former monarchs who will be competing and those who have placed in the top 3 over the years. So we have, former monarch educator, of course, the mighty Pep. He is a multiple crown winner. We have Invader, who is also a former monarch, Wally and Minel. So that's what, 5 former monarchs who are in the semifinals and looking to book their places for the finals of this year's competition to face off against Nintas. Another issue that arose recently, and I was expecting that to come sooner or later, that one I am sure will affect all of us because, well, most of us, I don't want to assume anything, but I am thinking that many of us use baked goods, especially bread. So now that the subsidy on flour, sugar, and rice has been reduced, the cost of producing baked goods would have gone up. And this evening, the bakers, the small bakers, were speaking about that issue, indicating that this would have a negative effect on their business because they pretty much make no profit on flour. And since bread or some baked goods are price controlled, there is no way that they can recoup those losses because of that increase. Now, I am not any baker, but I would know, like many of you, that to produce bread, it's not only flour, it's not only water. You have sugar that is put there, and you have all these other ingredients, and some of them are also vatable. So with the increase in the price of flour, sugar, with VAT being levied on some of those goods, and if you go to the supermarkets, you would have seen that the price of some of those goods have gone up. Where does that leave them? They're hoping to have a meeting at the Derek Walcott Square later on this week to discuss what sort of action that they will take if they cannot get a resolve to their issues. And one of the bakers indicated that the profits that they make is peanuts, so they want to see a larger profit margin since government has decided to remove part of the subsidy on those goods. So it's interesting. I remember a few years ago when Sylvia Cadas was the president of the Bakers Association. I'm not sure if she still is. There was this back and forth until the price of baked goods was increased. Bread moved from 25 cents then to 35 cents, and I'm sure that many of you would have remembered when we made that transition. And some of the price control baked goods, price control bread, were removed from the price control list. So whereas we used to pay, I think, like $2 for a pan loaf, a sliced loaf, in some cases that jumped to $5 and even higher. So it would be very interesting to see what will happen with the bakers now agitating and putting pressure on the authorities to address the issue of the price of baked goods. So again, as we indicated, the lines are open. You can call in to make your contribution at any time. We will be very willing and happy to take your contribution on Newsmaker Live, as this is an open program for you this evening. Okay. And while we wait for your calls, we'll just queue up some of those issues that I raised. so that you can have a better understanding here for yourself, some of the reports that we carried as far as these stories, including that civil status story, the one about the Shock Cemetery, which we carried yesterday, and this evening the bakers story, the bakers airing their concerns about the price of those goods, those ingredients for the production of bread increasing, and therefore making a case for the price of bread to go up in the very near future. So if we'll take a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll have these queued up and we can play them for you so you can get an understanding or better idea of what we're talking about here as far as that is concerned. Stay with us.